What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Civilizations could be driven by a concept called science, and in some rarer realms, humans transformed into machines. Some worlds were compact enough that a fully unleashed true dragon could obliterate them, while others were desolate lands incessantly contested by angels and demons with the abilities of awakened demon lords. Velgrynd traversed them all, not of her own volition but guided along a predetermined path. They varied in levels of civilization, and she couldn't discern their dimensions or timelines. No parallel worlds intersected within the universe, ensuring that identical existences never duplicated within the same timeline. In essence, visiting a place once didn't guarantee revisiting it at any time. She possessed the ability to determine her precise location within a given timeline in the dimension she occupied. Yet this only marked her current moment in time. Even Cthulhu's spacetime leap ability couldn't enable her to make pinpoint jumps. Consequently, Velgrynd's knowledge encompassed the memories of all Rudras across various worlds. One served as a fleet commander in a galactic empire. In a world steeped in magic, another acted as the vizier of a small kingdom. In a realm devoid of magic, a globetrotting swindler existed, and in a civilized world, a scientist struggled in poverty. Velgrynd would often be summoned to individuals carrying pieces of Rudra's soul when they faced significant danger. Only when they stared death in the face did their souls emit the necessary shine. She wasn't always timely. Sometimes they perished as children. Despite the sorrowful scenes, Velgrynd accepted them, attributing them to fate. Such tragedies, moreover, expedited the gathering of the victim's soul fragment, eliminating the need for her tears. Nevertheless, she refrained from hastening the progression of time with her abilities. Monitoring these diverse Rudras was how Velgrynd found joy in life. Early on, she realized that the bloodlines of these Rudras held little significance. Their appearances lacked a pattern. One might have black hair, the next red. Yet, in Velgrynd's perception, they were all Rudra. Thus, she spent countless years living in this manner. The number of soul fragments multiplied, gradually restoring their exquisite entirety. Velgrynd could instinctively sense that only a very few remained, and either the next one or the one after that would be the last. So she continued to leap, going wherever she was beckoned. In an empire, after her most recent spacetime journey, Velgrynd materialized in an opulent chamber. Silk robes seemed to be the prevailing attire in this era, deep blue hues that complemented her well. Now, Velgrynd scrutinized the other man in the room, the empire's aged emperor.
Who are you?
The emperor, depleted by the passage of time, lay on a grand, magnificent bed. Having this peculiar woman suddenly appear in their bedchamber would have startled anyone. The absence of terror in his screamless state indicated that much of his courage, at least, remained intact. Yet Velgrynd paid him little attention.
Oh, an elderly man again, is it? Ah, that takes me back. That visage reminds me of that tribal chief.
To her, old age held no significance. It was merely one of the many forms human beings assumed, reflecting their physical status. So she affectionately extended her hand to the old man's cheek, bringing her lips close to his ear.
I am Velgrynd. That is my name. And yours?
You do not fear me, and your power. Is it divine?
A sword pressed against Velgrynd's throat. She blocked it effortlessly with a single ethereal finger, not bothering to shift her gaze. Not a drop of blood was spilled. The demon-destroying strike proved futile. The attack, naturally, didn't originate from the emperor but from one of the guardians attending to him. His name was Araki Tensei, the imperial guardian tasked with protecting the land from man-eating fiends and malevolent spirits. He wielded a blade with the power to dispel evil and was the finest swordsman of the current age, the master of the sword style known as Oboro Shinmei Ryu. Despite his youth, still in his early 30s, he had been appointed as the emperor's guardian. Yet even Tensei's blade failed to harm Velgrynd. The reason might have been apparent, but to Tensei, it surpassed comprehension.
I never thought my blade would be stopped. Minamoto, guard His Majesty for me.
Yes, sir.
Tensei addressed Minamoto Saburo, a man in his early 20s. Much like Tensei, he concealed himself in the shadows while guarding the emperor. Third ranked among Tensei's pupils, he was a skilled apprentice.
Oh, there's no need to be overly cautious of me. I'm sure you both excel in your technique, but to me, it's rather endearing.
Nonsense. I may not match up to you, but I'll at least buy us some extra time.
Perhaps so.
She shrugged.
I understand asking for your trust might be premature. But okay. Can you just keep him here for me, please?
She didn't mind being disparaged, but if it added to the emperor's burden, she couldn't allow it. In her estimation, His Majesty had only a brief time left, and the idea of her presence extinguishing that last ember was unbearable. At the very least, she wanted to be there for him in his final moments, bringing solace to them. Minamoto bore the brunt of it all. A single gaze from Velgrynd, and he was rooted to the spot. The sheer authority in that gaze made him realize the insurmountable gap in their skills. Actually, it went even beyond that. They now recognized that this was something entirely inscrutable, an adversary that rendered all the demons and phantom beasts they had faced in the past like children. If Gensei's sword, a blade he held in the highest regard, had failed, Velgrynd was evidently not to be trifled with. But even that failed to fully grasp the situation. Minamoto felt frustrated. He had a duty, and there was no way to fulfill it. Nevertheless, he at least attempted to summon what little courage remained to glare at Velgrynd.
Are you one of the Yoma leaders then? Stepping forward yourself to end all this strife?
A lot of talk to conceal the cold sweat. He hoped to uncover the assailant's identity, but Velgrynd understood that well enough.
You call them Yoma here? They exist in this world too then? You really do find them lurking everywhere, don't you?
Are you saying you're not?
That's correct. Besides, the Yoma you speak of, I can't be sure they're the same as the creatures I know.
Velgrynd could instantly analyze any language from any world and speak it fluently. This wasn't a skill but more of a latent bodily function, reading the thoughts exchanged between people in this world. However, since similar concepts could sometimes be confused, she needed to carefully avoid making any mistakes. The term Yoma needed clarification, she thought. In her mind, the term translated directly to phantom, and the phantoms she knew were led by Feldway, the Phantom Lord. They belonged to the so-called aggressors, races existing in all dimensions, and Velgrynd had crossed paths with them numerous times on her lengthy journey. The prospect of encountering them again elicited a sigh, but she clung to the hope that these Yoma might be different.
Yoma are Yoma. That is the only way to describe them. Not even I know what they truly are.
The Emperor, not Minamoto, responded to the question. Recognizing Minamoto's immobilization, Gensei decided on a change in tactics. While Minamoto engaged Velgrynd, Gensei aimed to evacuate the Emperor from the room. The seamless role reversal without prior instruction illustrated the profound trust between them. Extracting the Emperor was almost certain to fail, but it was a strategy worth attempting. The Emperor himself put an end to it.
Your Majesty?
It is fine. Somehow, this person fills me with a sense of nostalgia. And I am already in the safest location in the capital, protected by layers of defense. Where else could I possibly flee to? This person evaded all our security on her way here. I doubt I could ever fully escape her.
He was correct. The Empire of Japan's conquest, to use its full name, was presently at war with a formidable, expansive enemy, hence the heightened state of alert. If someone had breached this far beyond their stringent defenses, it was akin to defeat. More importantly, the Emperor couldn't muster fear for Velgrynd. As he had mentioned, she evoked memories of times that brought him a sense of solace. Thus, he chose to place trust in Velgrynd. They would discuss the situation, and if possible, he pondered, he could enlist her as their ally. They remained in the bedchamber, indulging in tea and light snacks brought in by attendants.
First, let me introduce myself. I've already given my name, but I am Velgrynd.
My name is Gensei. Araki Gensei. I am tasked with guarding His Majesty.
And I am Minamoto Suburo, captain of the Imperial Palace Swordsman Guard.
I see. Good to meet you. And you, Rudra?
Velgrynd displayed little interest in the bodyguards. She immediately turned her focus to the one she held dear.
I never anticipated such a beauty attending to me at my advanced age. I don't mind it, but I can't help but wish I were a little younger.
My. Even you can be flattering, Rudra? What a rare experience.
Heh, I didn't mean it that way. But very well. My name is Akira Sakura. I thought I was better known than that in this realm, but perhaps old age has made me grow conceited.
His name was renowned far and wide, as was his reputation as a wise ruler. However, Akira Sakura was his real, non-regal name, not commonly spoken in regular circles. Even those relatively close to the Emperor refrained from using it to address him, but it was a name known and respected by every one of his citizens. Nevertheless, to Velgrynd, he was Rudra. Even if it wasn't considered taboo to call the Emperor Akira Sakura to his face, she had no intention of doing so.
He. You'd have no way of knowing, of course. I only came to this world at the very first moment I met you here. The you that I know is named Rudra, and I will keep calling you that.
It was a remarkably impolite way to address royalty. However, one smile from the emperor indicated that this was fully permitted.
That is fine.
Your Majesty?
I don't mind. A small price to pay if it earns me the favor of this goddess. However, I'm afraid I cannot allow you to stand by my side in public.
No? Why not?
I have my own position to uphold. If I am attended to by someone who calls me a name no one's heard before, it would cause needless worry for my retainers.
If Velgrynd were to wield her powers in front of everyone in the empire, that would likely lead to chaos. The emperor was making this request merely to simplify matters for himself. Velgrynd, understanding that, resolved not to impose her personal will on him any further. She wanted to meekly accept any requests Rudra had for her, so for now, she went along with it. That wasn't as crucial as understanding what was happening here anyway.
In that case, we'll need to figure out how I should present myself when I need to be in public. Can you explain to me exactly what the current situation is in this place?
Velgrynd never beat around the bush. If Rudra was facing a crisis, she was ready to provide any necessary assistance. The emperor's interaction with this otherworldly being immediately caused a headache for his two bodyguards.
This Velgrynd is undoubtedly formidable, perhaps even divine, as His Majesty suggested. It might be wiser to seek her assistance than to provoke her wrath.
Tensei entertained such notions, acknowledging Velgrynd's immense power. On the other hand, Minamoto grappled with conflicting thoughts.
Her apparent reverence for His Majesty is intriguing. Why does she behave as though it's perfectly normal? We failed in our duty to protect him, and yet, His Majesty permits this. How do we explain this to Her Majesty the Empress and the Imperial Prince? What repercussions might arise?
Minamoto's concerns delved into practical issues. In some realms, it might be accepted for a king or emperor to have one or two mistresses without causing a scandal, but not in their current setting. The emperor's spouse was expected to come from a specific lineage, as any offspring would be a part of the royal line. The women in the emperor's circle were confined to distinct roles. A rigid barrier separated the empress from the concubines. Presenting Velgrynd to the court as a concubine seemed the only viable option.
But will she accept that role? If she insists on being recognized as Empress, we may be powerless to prevent it.
Minamoto, ever worried, projected his thoughts into the future. While his duty centered on guarding the imperial palace, a conflict between the emperor, his wife, and Velgrynd could have disastrous consequences.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Stone Larone, Ray Perez, Donald Williams, Moab A, Day of Light, Zephyrath, Alver, Normal Defate, Joshua Andrade, L, Gary Miles, Foolish Prophets, Lamar. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.